It's hard to say because we're going to be renting our next place, so I'd say our expectations are going to be pretty low, to be honest. I wouldn't want a rental home with acreage because then I'm going to want to do things to it, and if it's a rental, it's like it's not my house, so like why would I put that much effort? We also don't know if we're selling our current house. It's kind of up in the air. Everything is very up in the air, and I feel like I shouldn't even be talking about it because I literally don't have like good answers. Let's talk about like a future forever home then, because my next place will probably be disappointing compared to this house, just to be completely honest. So future home, forever home. I have been looking at, like, I've been putting like very specific things into realtor.com, like, you know, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, has more than 10 acres, blah blah blah, like, you know, going through the filters and being very specific, and then keeping it open to like an entire state. So I've looked at Minnesota, Michigan, and Wisconsin, mostly like those top 3 states, because we kind of want to settle somewhere a lot colder than Missouri. If we don't end up settling here, well, my husband really likes cold weather. I'm okay with it. I'm definitely adjusting and getting better with it. I think maybe our next place we live, we want to try somewhere colder to see how we do, like if we actually want to do that long term. Because yeah, you honestly never know, and I wouldn't want to commit to like another mortgage if I hate living in constant snow cover in the winter. But right now it looks like glorified fall. Like some of the leaves are still on the trees, we still have leaves on the ground. It's just like freaking cold, but you can't go out and enjoy it. You know what I mean? I mean, you could if you dress properly, for sure. Anyway, I think that we definitely want to live somewhere with more snowfall. It would be awesome in a future home to have like, you know, more acreage than we currently have, like 10 or more acres. Also, it would be great to have some sort of pond or water running through the property, stuff like that. If there was already a barn established, that'd be great. If there was already a garden area established, that would be really great. I don't know, we're kind of just imagining what that future home would look like, and we definitely like living a little bit more rural, but I like having the comforts of a city because I love Target. And if I have to drive super far to get to a Target or anything like that, it's really such a bummer. But at the end of the day, you do have to sacrifice a lot when you want to live more rural, and I do quite enjoy it. So I think that we are going to continue in that direction. House feature wise, a sunroom is definitely a big need. As like you can see, this sunroom is like my entire personality, and actually it's been something that's super common, is there being like at least one room with a bunch of windows across the board from what I'm seeing on just like looking at realtor.com. So I don't think that'll be that hard to find. I don't really have a lot of like individual house requirements. I'd love for the flooring to be updated already. Like I actually am thinking about making a video talking about on my second channel our experience with buying a house for the first time and going further than just the buying process. Like we bought a house that's a little older and it needed upgrades. Like what would we do differently next time? I kind of want to make a video like that because we've learned a lot of lessons, and we feel like when and if we do buy another house in the future, we would make a lot of different decisions. Not that this experience has been horrible, but we would definitely do things differently. You know, new knowledge or more knowledge makes better informed decisions. So yeah. All right, admittedly, I took a lunch break after answering one question. That was hard work. And you guys, look how bright it is in here. I have not had the sun shining like this in so long. The sun has just not come out. Oh my gosh, I missed the sun so much. I honestly, since moving here, I'd never take for granted how amazing it is to have the sun shining into my house. It's incredible. I've got to put some plants back up on the wall here because they've been chilling on my ladder. This plant and this plant, I'm actually gonna water them real quick before I take them back. But these actually live underneath my TV stand. And they've been under there for quite a while because they live under Mother Grow Lights, which is a fantastic grow light. I worked with them a couple months ago, well, maybe it's like last March, I think. And these plants have grown so much. They are so happy under there. I just wanted to move them into the plant room for the Christmas holiday because I was gonna be out of town and I don't have a timer on those lights yet, so I just moved them in here so they could get sunlight. So hot tip, if you're if you're going on a trip and you have plants that always live under a grow light and they're not on a timer, I need to get them on a timer. I really do. But if you're in that situation, oh my gosh, I hate how Instagram just automatically will like blast you with sound as soon as you open the app. It's really the worst. I hate it so much. But let me get the next question here. Tips to increase plant knowledge and how to become an expert. What I would say for increasing your plant knowledge is to look to a variety of sources. I always say that my channel should never be your singular source of plant knowledge. Number one, because I'm not a botanist or a horticulturalist. I've never claimed to be, I don't want to be. And I don't say that because they are the only people who have valid things to say about houseplant care. But I say that because they're the ones who are actually doing the research, like the field research and writing the papers and creating resources for people like me to look at and break it down further for people like you, or even for people like myself, really. I make videos that I would like to watch, and I create content, especially educational content, in a way that I would understand it. I do have a background in education, so I feel like I am pretty good at reading information and synthesizing it in a way that makes it more palatable. Definitely find people online who teach in a way that you understand, or you enjoy watching them do things. Maybe they're not necessarily always teaching, but I would say grab 1 or 2 houseplant care books. I wrote one, obviously, well, maybe not obviously if you didn't know, I wrote a houseplant care book. It is called Houseplants for Beginners, and it really is like a true beginner's guide. If you're beyond the super beginner stage, it might feel a little bit basic to you. I have seen some reviews that say that, but that's literally the point. It's houseplants for beginners. But I have heard a lot of people say that there was new concepts in the book that they hadn't heard someone else talking about. A couple other people who wrote really great books. There's Daryl Chang, he wrote The New Plant Parent, and then Danae Horst, she wrote Houseplants for All. Those are 2 really great resources that I really like. They both have really great illustrations. I also have some vintage houseplant books that I look at just to see how information has evolved, because honestly, like if it worked in the 70s, it would probably still work now. So I kind of like going back and seeing sort of what they did, and it's also really beautiful just to look at vintage houseplant books. I have a stack like right here, and then I have another one underneath that right here. And I have an old series on my channel where I actually look through those books. It's called Plant Advice From / like Vintage Plant Advice. So I have a couple, I think maybe 2 or 3 videos where I've flipped through a vintage houseplant book and shared what the pages look like and some information in them. Those were some of my favorite videos to film, but they get like barely any views. Unfortunately, I do have to think about the content that actually gets views in addition to content that I really enjoy making, so I kind of try to sprinkle in both when I can. But anyway, those videos usually tank, so I kind of stopped doing them. But maybe in the future I will make more as like a bonus episode or something. Also, Maria from the Growing Joy podcast, formerly known as Bloom and Grow Radio, has a network, basically a learning network, I like to say, where she has Leslie Halleck, who is a botanist or a horticulturalist, or maybe both, I'm not remembering, and she does a lot of like Ask a Horticulturalist events with Leslie Halleck and like Q&As and stuff like that. And honestly, a lot of my plant knowledge came from early episodes of Bloom and Grow Radio, now known as Growing Joy, because it was one of the only informative planty podcasts at the time, and it's a really good podcast, obviously. So I enjoy Maria. She's one of my friends now, which is wild to think about, but that's another great resource. There's classes on Skillshare if you want to do a more like classroom environment type of thing. I had a code with Skillshare, and I don't know if it's still active, but if it is, I'll put it in the description box if you want to try that out. But there's a lot of classes on Skillshare. Plant Queen actually has, Christopher Griffin, Plant Queen, has a couple of classes on there too, and she's awesome. I love listening to their content and everything else. Different people will have different philosophies for how they care for plants, and I think that it's good to listen to a bunch and then from all of that create your own. We are getting to the top of my plant wall, and these plants, ooh, They look rough.